There are 10,000 things you could watch tonight. New series, trending films, critically acclaimed shows you haven't touched. The algorithm knows this. It pushes and recommends and refreshes, offering you the entire world of new content on a single screen. And you open The Office again, or Friends, or Harry Potter, or the same film you have seen so many times you could recite it quietly in the dark. People around you raise an eyebrow. Why not something new? But that question misses something important. The real question, the one psychology, has a far more interesting answer to, is not why people rewatch at all. It's what your specific show, the one you always return to, reveals about who you actually are. Because the show you keep coming back to is not a casual choice. It isn't habit or laziness, or a failure of imagination. It is one of the most telling psychological signatures. A person can leave a window into what your nervous system is quietly asking for when the day finally ends and the world stops demanding things from you. Think about the last time you pressed play on something familiar. You weren't looking for surprise. You weren't looking for a challenge. You were looking for something else entirely, something the algorithm cannot name, but your body already knew. The question is, what was it? There are 4 distinct psychological types of rewatchers. Each one returns to familiar content for a different reason, and each reason is a precise map of their inner life. The first type is the comfort seeker. For this person, life has a quality of unpredictability that never fully resolves work pressures, relational uncertainty, a world that keeps accelerating in ways that are difficult to absorb. Their nervous system is chronically managing more than it was built to manage quietly. And into that landscape, the familiar show arrives like something safe. Psychologists call this predictability bias when the environment feels beyond a person's control. The brain actively seeks out situations where it already knows the outcome. The comfort seeker knows how the episode ends. They know the character survives. The joke is coming. The scene will resolve exactly as it did last time. And that certainty, that small bordered world where nothing unexpected can happen, feels like a warm blanket in a cold world. It is not the story they are returning to. It is the feeling, the emotional safety, of pressing play somewhere the ending is already known. For them, opening a familiar show is not passive. It is self-regulation. The equivalent of coming home after a long day to find everything exactly where they left it. The second type is the cognitive restorer. This person is mentally exhausted in ways that are invisible to everyone around them. Their work demands constant thinking, decision-making, problem-solving, holding complexity together under pressure. Psychologists refer to this as allostatic load, the accumulated mental cost of sustained cognitive effort. By the time the evening arrives, their brain has spent its budget. Watching something new requires more of exactly what they have run out of. Learning new characters, tracking unfamiliar plots, attending to details that haven't yet become automatic. But rewatching is something different entirely. It is in autopilot mode. The brain doesn't have to work. It can simply exist. Psychologists call this cognitive load reduction, and the brain operates like a battery. Rewatching is how this type of person recharges without spending more of the energy they are trying to recover. They don't need stimulation. They need rest. And familiar content is the only entertainment that doesn't make a single demand on them. It is background comfort, mental white noise, a way to be present in the world without being drained by it any further. What looks like repetition from the outside is, for them, the most intelligent use of the evening they have. If any part of this is speaking to something you recognize in yourself, take a moment to drop a like. It helps more people find conversations like this one. And if this kind of psychology interests you, subscribing is the best way to stay. The third type is the nostalgic anchor. This person is not returning to the show. They are returning to something. The show contains a feeling, a time, a version of themselves they are not quite ready to let go of. Maybe they first watched it with someone they no longer have in their life. Maybe it belonged to a chapter when things felt simpler, when they were younger or lighter or less aware of what was coming. Psychologists describe this as emotional time travel. The show becomes a portal not to its own story, but to the person the viewer used to be. Researchers studying nostalgia, including work by Konstantin Sedekidze and Tim Wildschut, have found that nostalgic experiences serve a specific psychological function. They maintain the continuity of the self across time, providing a sense that you remain the same person you have always been, even when life has rearranged everything around you. For the nostalgic anchor, every rewatch is a visit to a past self. The show is frozen in time, waiting for them, even as everything else has moved. This is why some people cry during scenes they have watched 10 times before. It is not the scene. It is the memory of who they were when they first sat down to watch it. Letting go of the show would feel, in some way, like letting go of that version of themselves. So they keep coming back not because they have forgotten what happens, but because they don't want to forget what it felt like to be that person. The fourth type is the detail hunter. Where the other three types return to something they already have, this person returns to something they believe they haven't yet fully found. For the detail hunter, a single viewing is never complete. They are convinced the show has layers, background jokes, foreshadowing that only makes sense in retrospect, subtle choices in an actor's performance that reward a second or third or 12th look. Psychologists connect this profile to two well-established traits: need for cognition, described by Cacioppo and Petty as a person's intrinsic motivation to engage in effortful thinking, and high openness to experience, one of the core dimensions of the Big Five personality model. The detail hunter's brain is drawn to puzzles, patterns, and hidden connections. Rewatching is not repetition. For them, it is the continuation of an investigation. Every time they catch something new, the show becomes fresh again. For them, a series is not simply a story. It is a world with unexplored corners, and they intend to see every one of them before they are satisfied. What all four of these types share is something the culture rarely acknowledges about rewatching. None of them are avoiding growth. None of them are stuck. None of them lack imagination or curiosity about the world. They are each, in their own precise way, choosing what their nervous system actually needs. The comfort seeker is protecting their peace in a world that offers very little of it. The cognitive restorer is conserving mental energy that has genuine other uses. The nostalgic anchor is maintaining the thread of who they are across time. The detail hunter is deepening their engagement with something that genuinely rewards it. Different needs, different wiring, different reasons to press play on the same familiar thing. We live in a culture that treats novelty as a virtue, that assumes the person chasing new content is somehow more curious, more alive, more engaged with the world than the person who already knows every line of what they're watching. But psychology suggests the opposite question deserves equal consideration. Does consuming something new make you more interesting? Or does understanding exactly what brings you comfort make you more self-aware? The person who knows which show they will always return to, and why, knows something about themselves that most people never bother to find out. Your rewatchable show is not a guilty pleasure. It is a portrait. And the fact that you keep going back to it, past all 10,000 alternatives the algorithm dangles in front of you, is not a failure of discipline. It is the quiet intelligence of a mind that has learned, somewhere along the way, what it actually needs. Before you leave, take a moment to reflect. What does your favorite rewatchable show quietly reveal about you? Share it in the comments. Let's explore the patterns, comfort, and insight that these choices reveal about our minds. And if you want to keep uncovering the subtle psychology behind everyday habits and preferences, hit subscribe. Understanding yourself starts with noticing what you keep coming back to. Thank you for watching.